Sheni v'chamishi. It's Erev Rosh Hashanah, and everybody is trying to get closer to Hashem. Not many people that I know are trembling with fear. Maybe subconsciously, our conscious reveals as much as it conceals. But mainly I hear repeating rabbis sending out their messages, whether it's Chabad or Esha Torah, all the same theme. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's a Yom Adin, but don't be afraid. It's like, could you imagine before a Batman show, the guy tells the kids, and Batman is the good guy. If he could save a city, he'll save a city. So Shmumunkis is in a house, and they think he's a simple guy. The woman wakes him up. Every religion has the simple people who really make it happen. They don't use too much rationale, but they really set you in line. If everybody thinks that you can't wear sneakers on Shabbos in your township, you're not going to be wearing sneakers on Shabbos, right? So the lady says, wake up, it's Slichus. The Shmumunkis sees these people, and they fear the nature god. And a nature god is very, if you fear nature, why not fear a nature god? He goes on top of a mountain and he makes a big noise. And all the windows shatter, and all the car alarms go off for as far as 20,000 miles. And his deep voice, he says, Anoichi Hashem Elokecha, lo yiyeh lecha elokim acherim. So every rabbi is trying to say it in so many words. Don't be afraid. It's not about fear. Well, let me tell you, in the medieval times, everybody was afraid of God. There was no microscopes and telescopes. Everybody imagined a big middle finger sticking out of the clouds right at them. And they knew that they're sinful, and everybody is sinful for not living up to impossible standards. And when you die, then maybe you get a unity with him. But as a small, puny human being, you have no business asking for a relationship with God. But you could survive God if you tone a fine line and you listen to what the priests and the leaders tell you. Then you could hope for to survive God once you die. He sits there by the desk and you're trying to get through, and it's very expensive to get these tickets, and you're hoping that everything you worked for in your life will score you to get through the main entrance, and then you could go into the party in heaven and in the kingdom of heaven. So, but most rabbis today are sharing the same message, which is, it's not about fear, it's about all the psychosomatic new age stuff about love, and it's about renewal, and it's about resolutions, and they borrow New Year's ideas from January stuff. Everybody in the Middle Ages believed that it's better to work on not getting God angry than trying to have a relationship with Him. One woman came to shul and she said she wanted to share a near-death experience that she had. She was in touch with Tzvi Freeman's wife, and Tzvi Freeman's wife is she's a near-death experience scientist, if it's a science at all. She likes collecting such stories and making more people believe it. So the woman said, and into a crowd of some traditional, some people who are just not so educated but are openly non-believers, and some scientists and it's a kiddush. We say a devar, and she says her devar, and she says her story, and she has other women that are just kvelling and loving it and wanting to give more information about the other side. She's been to another dimension, and her story was she went up to God and she asked God about the Holocaust. And that's where I got that selfish human just painted all over the story. Because if a scientist died and went up to God, the first question the scientist would have was not about the past, about why you did Germany or something, because I guess this woman was trying to make a deal with God. I won't bother you about what you did, and you don't bother me about my selfish life that I lived. Because she knew damn well that her Louis Vuitton bag could have bought 50 kids in Yerushalayim new shoes for Yom Tov. She knew that, and she knew that God won't take excuses. So she had to ask God a question that she might do a draw. Maybe not a checkmate, but a draw on God. And then she finishes the story by saying, and then I woke up and I didn't hear God's answer. Okay. So if a scientist dies and meets God, he'll ask God, when is your next genocide? When is your next catastrophe? When is your next tragedy? Because having a rational framework for society, having people think critically, is a lot more easy to deal. We could deal with material difficulties as a society a lot better than had we losing the basic rational logical system of thinking. A scientist would just say, Hashem, when is your next shot? Because if you tell me, and I could tell my friends, I could save a few people. I'll save as many people as possible. So this woman, being that she wasn't, learning just the joys of science and the joys of nature and learning about a predictable universe, couldn't even come up with that question in her dream. And made a fool of herself, I could only charitably say. And also revealed what she didn't know she was revealing, which is that another selfish human trying to score their points and survive God, and rather than have a relationship with God, survive God. A lot of children have beautiful relationships with their parents, even though they argue most of the time. So in so many words, the rabbis are saying, Rosh Hashanah is coming, don't be afraid, don't be this, don't be that. We're not afraid anyway. How many missions did we send to Mars? How much information do we have today that our ancestors didn't have? We're not afraid that God's going to get angry at us because we make mistakes. We're not afraid that God is going to punish us for being human. If He wanted to make us angels, go ahead. So, sei gesund, and don't forget to say Yechi Adonenu every day, and have a wonderful year.